How much time do you spend worrying about what could happen out there? What could happen in the unpredictable nature of the ocean? We spend so much energy worrying about the people we love when they're on the water. And that's why having the right safety gear matters. Kent Safety Products makes Coast Guard-approved PFDs and flotation gear trusted by commercial fishing families for generations. It's comfortable, durable, and made for real life on the water. From the fishing grounds to family boating days. Because when we trust the gear that keeps them safe, we can spend less energy worrying and more time enjoying the moments that matter. Visit KentSafetyProducts.com to find the right gear for your crew. That's KentSafetyProducts.com. Hey friend, welcome back to another episode. I'm so happy that we get to hang out with each other this week, especially during this time in life personally, and maybe you're going through it too. And if you're new here, I'm Megan Waldrop. I'm your host of the podcast. And today we're going to talk about identity shifts and transitions, because that's something that I'm definitely going through and my husband's going through as a former commercial fisherman. It's wild to say that. But we sold the boat in April. I talked about it a few episodes ago about what that looked like for us, how we prepared and all that stuff. And I'm definitely going to go into more of that because I feel that in order to move through what's going on right now, I want to share it with you because maybe one day that you'll go through it too. And I feel that most of us understand how encompassing commercial fishing can be. Or maybe you're listening and you're in a different industry, but the lifestyle, it's not just a job, it is a freaking lifestyle, not only for the fisherman and his partner, but for the family too. And it's a badge that we proudly wear, and even when times are tough, because it means that we're up for the task and the adventure of it all, but it also means that we have a community of people who get what we're going through. But what happens when that identity is stripped away? Life after commercial fishing, it is adjustment, not only for the fisherman, but for the partner too. And this episode is for those who are in the middle of a transition, maybe are coming up on one, and to prepare you for the day that your identity shifts as a fisherman or a partner of a commercial fisherman, because it is an adjustment. And identity is something I've wondered a lot about over the last 6 months. We started the process of selling our boat in January of 2025, which included making lists of improvements that Chris would do, and also him actually updating and upgrading the boat. More boat projects, always, always, always. Drafting the sales pitch we'd possibly use to sell the boat online if we had to go that route. And making a list of people who we'd want to sell the boat to and who we'd love for the boat to be with, because, the boat becomes a family member. It's an extension of you. We name our boats. They have actual personalities. And not only are they a means to make a living, but they also keep loved ones safe. And it truly is something that is like a home. A boat is like a home. And so that mourning process can be intense. So during that time, and even before then, I had the mourning process. I was mourning the lifestyle that we shared together for 10 years for me and my fisherman, my husband. And it was a way of life that served us so much and brought me to you. It's the life that sparked the Partners of Commercial Fishermen community, a worldwide community with so much strength and love and resilience. And I'm so inspired by all of you out there, always constantly inspired by how you do what you do. So, I asked myself the big questions. If I'm no longer a fisherman's wife, what did that mean for what I've created with you in our community over the past 6 years? And the biggest question, who am I without commercial fishing? We eventually sold the boat in April to Chris's former deckhand. And we couldn't be happier that him and his partner now own her. I mean, they were definitely the people who deserved to have this boat. He knew the ins and outs. He knew the fishing grounds. It was comfort. It was family. It was, as they say, your succession planning. Who's going to succeed your business for you? Did I use that term right? Anyway, who is going to take over for you? Who's going to take over your business? So we're so grateful that it worked out. Also that the timing was just perfect on that end. And also shout out to the partner of a fisherman down in San Diego who hooked me up with a buyer or a seller of fishing permits so that our deckhand could buy a permit and officially become the captain of the boat. Because we weren't selling the permit, we had leased it from Chris's dad. So we had to find the missing puzzle piece to make the transaction happen. And if it wasn't for our community, I don't know if that would go down. So go POCFs. So we had like a very informal, but it felt really monumental passing of the torch ceremony in a sense. We all had dinner at the yacht club in Santa Barbara, overlooking the marina full of commercial fishing boats, the beautiful Santa Ynez Mountains, and the sprawling Pacific Ocean. And we were just chatting. I got to speak with his partner and answer any questions she had and just kind of give her a heads up of what to expect and the joys and challenges of it all, which she kind of knew already, but always wanted her to know that I was here for her. I could help network or put her in touch with anybody that she needed to help her feel more supported. Because Chris was selling the fishing boat in California, but he was going to live full time in our home in Wilmington, North Carolina. So there was that bridge. We were going to be long distance from them. And I got to introduce them to other fishermen's wives who have been in the game for 40 plus years, and they got to hear stories. It was really beautiful. And the reason I didn't share with y'all at the time is because I was still processing it. It was April. It was the end of spiny lobster season, which honestly, it didn't really feel like we had sold the boat because it's the end of the season. That's when Chris is done with spiny lobster fishing in California and usually drives back to our home in Wilmington, North Carolina. So usually the end of fishing is April. So it just felt like, it's the end of fishing for the summer. And 8 out of the 10 years that we've been together, he'd go up to fish sockeye salmon in Bristol Bay, Alaska in June and July. But regardless, April was always the cutoff for us. Then he'd come back to the east and we'd hang out until about August, until he started to get squirrely and needed to go back to California and prepare for lobster season again. And as you can imagine, August this year was much different. And we took a big trip to celebrate the sale and the transition of the boat. And I'll do a quick story about that. So we ended up going to Bali, Indonesia. We went on 2 separate trips and ended up meeting each other. He was out there for 2 weeks and I was out there for 10 days by myself. And then we met together after that. So that was our big celebration. He had a surf trip. I went on a yoga and Reiki retreat, which was completely life-changing and incredible, and definitely shifted my perspective on how I wanted to go about my day-to-day business, relationships in my life, everything. It was very transformative because I went there with the big question: who am I without commercial fishing? What do I do now? What is this? What is this messy middle? How do I move forward? And I'm so glad that we took that break, and very, very fortunate that we were able to do such an extravagant trip. And I realize also you don't have to go fly halfway across the world or the other side of the world to have those questions, just to let you know. So, you can take time to yourself to pause and think. And that's the thing, is I needed time to pause and just be in the gray area and not feel like I needed to have the answers and still honor what we've shared together as a community. But it was interesting when mid-August came around. It was that was when it started to slowly hit. I'd look at him and say, you'd be on your way to California right now, or you'd be building traps right now. He's like, I know. But it wasn't until September when it really started to hit, because Chris had never seen Wilmington, North Carolina transition in the fall, except for maybe a random weekend when he'd fly home to see me and then only to head back out to go fishing again. But it was really the first day of spiny lobster season. It starts on the first Wednesday of October of every year. And that's when it became official. And that's when I shared with you that we'd sold the boat. I shared it on the podcast and online as well on socials. But even during that time in September, before that announcement came, he talked to his former fish buyer and fisherman friends about predictions and the usual whispers around the season. And we both kind of felt a little left out, that we weren't truly a part of the dialogue anymore in the way that we've known it. It was crazy to feel that way. Just, what does this mean for us? And always came back to the question, who am I without commercial fishing? And I'm going to end this episode a little differently than the rest, because big changes like this need to be respected by giving space. And I want to share this with you because this is how I've been able to process my emotions and go through this change. And I'm sharing in case you find this helpful one day, or maybe whatever you're going through. I mean, life has so many different challenges every single day, a lot of amazing joys, and so many joys, and there are challenges. It's just, it takes us time to really pause and step back to be like, okay, yeah, maybe this part is hard right now, but I hope it doesn't take away, like, not let it take away from all the beautiful things in your life that is going on and is going on for you. Everything is happening for you in ways that you cannot expect or explain. It might not be the way you want it to go. It might not be as beautiful and poetic as you're hoping it will be, or in my instance, as fast as you would want it to be. But it's all working out. It always has worked out, and it always will. And so I'm going to end this episode with giving us all space to breathe right now. So wherever you are right now, take a moment to pause. Maybe you're driving, walking, or sitting with your coffee, and just let yourself arrive where you are. This is going to be a short reflection to help you find calm in the middle of change and reconnect with who you are becoming. Who are we becoming? Who are we without commercial fishing? Even if you're in it right now, who are you without fill in the blank? Who are you without this major identity that you've connected with and maybe clung on to for years and years and years? So let's take a deep breath in through your nose and fill up your belly. And exhale slowly through your mouth. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. And let your thoughts begin to settle like sand sinking in a glass of water. You don't have to fix or figure anything out in this moment. You're simply here to just be. To listen to your breath, your body, and who you are becoming. Every transition begins with awareness. It's that moment that we realize something in our life is shifting. Maybe it's your work, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's the way you see yourself. But don't rush to label the answers as good or bad. Just notice them. And as you breathe, gently ask yourself, what parts of my life feels like it's changing right now? What emotions come up when I think about that change?